Congress, and they get back there and they're changed. There's a lot lately that have not changed. And I'm grateful if that's the way that you're going to be. I really am.
Remember I told you, a lot of people want to remodel the bathroom while the house is on fire. This is what I'm talking about. Remember, we can talk about all of these other issues. But you have to understand, our financial policies push our monetary policies. The central bank is printing out money to cover our rear ends and to cover the fact that we are overspending. Period. The thing that threatens our sovereignty is the debt.
Speaking of central bank, how do you rein them in?
I mean, the Fed?
Yeah.
Audit the Fed. Audit the Fed. Now, a lot of people will go back and say, down the Fed. Let's take the Fed out. I think it's absolutely one of the things that friend Matheson will go and say, absolutely, they're insane. Why would you do that? I'll give you an example why it's important for us to audit the Fed. We have got to start opening up the eyes of the American people. For instance, we have been told for years that we use 25% of the world's reserves in energy, right? And we only have 2 to 3%. We all know now that that's not true. We've got quite a bit of, we are actually the world's largest holders of oil, coal, and natural gas. We're the largest holders. So what's the issue now? The environment. And we are drilling. We are drilling. I heard that this morning. The environment, and we are drilling. Why are you saying no to the pipeline? And it's the Senate, I'm telling you. But you see how we've been deceived in that way? The word reserve means what can legally be extracted. Well, yeah, if you do that in that sense, the federal government's type is just holding down the lands and we can't go out and extract. Well, yeah, maybe we do have 2 to 3% because that's exactly what they'll allow us to extract. See what I'm saying? So that's why I say audit the Fed. Because when you audit the Fed, you are able to educate Americans from the inside out and expose it for everything that's in there. And then we can gather Americans behind us and see what needs to happen there.
Thanks.
Does that make sense? That's why I say audit the Fed.
That's irresponsible. Common Core. As a mayor, as a citizen of Utah, where does this stand and how forward is the legislature going to move on Common Core?
My principles are the best solutions are found at the most local level. The issues that we have with education is because it's a one-size-fits-all. What would happen if states actually were allowed to compete? What would actually happen?
Price would go down.
It's not just the price, too, but you're talking about competition starts to go up. Who wins? Our children win.
Yeah.
Even if New Jersey, for instance, let's look at New Jersey, has the highest property tax their property tax is insane. What if they had the best educational system? Then they can pull people in. What would Utah do? I want to see what's in that core. Maybe we'll adopt it and make it better. What would happen if we were allowed to compete? Again, the one-size-fits-all does not work. My children are not like your children, are not like anybody else's. But I can tell you this, I sat in front of a lot of teachers and I asked them, I said, how many of you wanted to do something in your classroom, because you're the expert in your classroom, wanted to do something where the parents said, yes, we want to support that, and you couldn't do it because whether it was the county, whether it was the state, the federal government did not allow it. 100% of them raised their hands.
Well, I don't know if really a lot of people know that we will no longer do No Child Left Behind, which I'm grateful for too, but Common Core is actually a program that's being, that has started, and it's begun at the UN. And it's a worldwide.
If Common Core was so incredibly great, and again, I leave this up to the experts, then why not allow us to choose that curriculum ourselves instead of force feeding it down our throats?
That's right.
Well, it's a federal, it will, actually everything will come from the federal government. So, I mean, how do we eliminate, how do we get our legislature to back off of this?
I think it starts, remember, I can speak on the federal level. I think it starts on the federal level. We're chopping branches when we should be fixing the root.
So the Department of Education would be one place that you would absolutely start and get rid of the Department of Education.
I would love to get rid of the Department of Education. I think we can do a better job on the state level. I think we have more funds to put into our education and put it in places where we thought was best.
Do you know Sherilyn Eagle?
I know Sherilyn Eager, yes.
My question is, would two women from Utah be too much?
Too much to handle? I'm too much to handle, I'm sure. For those guys out there, I will be too much to handle.
What do you think
Yes.
of Sherilyn?
Oh, I think Sherilyn's great. We tend to, I think when you talk about fair tax, you know, with free tax, fair trade, free trade, we might, I need to talk to her a little bit about that. Sherilyn is a great person, she's a great activist, and I'm leaving it up to the second district to figure out whether they're going to elect her or not.
About immigration, how do we fix immigration?
Okay, again, you've got a lot of legislators that are trying to do something here. Again, it's putting a Band-Aid on an issue. You've got to fix it on a federal level. See, I have this analogy where it's like you have this boat and there's a big hole punched in the boat and we're sitting there trying to bail out the water and it just keeps filling in. Here's how we plug the boat, right? We have to secure our borders. Everyone agrees we've got to secure our borders. 2, we've got to be able to track who comes in and who leaves on visas. One of the ideas that I pushed out there, which I'd like to get some ideas on, is maybe we can put a bond on visas within the allocated visas that we have. We put a bond on visas. Instead of giving it to a coyote trying to figure out whether you're going to survive crossing the desert, you can actually come in and you know what, when you leave, you actually get that back. We can actually track who leaves the country. We guess that over 60% of the people that are here illegally are here on expired visas, but that's just a guess. We have no idea. We can only track who comes in, we can't track who leaves. And 3, that it is Congress's job to create a uniform rule of naturalization. That means a way in. You realize, again, we incentivize and reward bad behavior and punish good behavior. It's easier for people to be here illegally than it is to be here legally. We have got to change our policies. I've got a friend that went to BYU. He's here on a visa, education visa, and he works for an engineering company, and his visa is going to expire. He wants to be able to stay and work and continue to work for this, but his visa is about to expire. There's no line for him to stand in. And if we get federal government doing what they're supposed to be doing and out of the things that they're not, we actually fix a lot of the problems. If you think about it, people say, well, it's so hard on our education system and our healthcare system. Those are policies that we've created, and they're being taken advantage of by Americans too.
So quick follow-up to that, what does securing the borders mean to you? What do we do to secure borders?
Again, we have to be able to track who comes in and who leaves.
Is it fence, is it troops on the border,
it is
is
at
it
least
more?
allowing our border security agents to pursue on public lands. I mean, if you think about it, they can't even do that. They can't pursue on public lands because of the restrictions we have on public lands. You know, you can't get on a four-wheeler and pursue.
I can't carry a weapon either.
How do you secure the border? And let me tell you, this is a big issue. It's a big issue because it's a national security issue, right? Think about what this has cost. The lack of, the underreaching on the federal borders and the lack of resources on our borders has caused it so that there's an overreaching within our borders. Think about TSA. Think about NDAA. Think about the Patriot Act. Think about all of the things that we are being subject to because of the lack of attention that is paid on our borders. You see, this is what I'm talking about. We need people that are going to focus on the root of the problem instead of trying to put a Band-Aid and a fix on this. Kind of trying to fix the story in the middle instead of trying to go back and start at the beginning.
You mentioned one of the big threats to our country is to our sovereignty is our national debt, and I agree with you 100%. My question is, why we like the 2008 levels, which weren't, in my mind, exactly fiscally responsible in the first place.
Okay, so this is a base. I think anybody who doesn't have this base shouldn't be running at all. This is just a base. If we can at least get it to the 2008 levels for now, because it's one thing to say, I want it to go back to eliminating it 100%, right?
The deficit, sure.
The deficit spending to 100%. But if we look at it and we can start off somewhere in terms of not compromise but cooperating, then that's why I say that this is a base. Absolutely, we should get back to, I mean, I don't think 2008, but it's a start. And so that's something that we can realistically do today, if we're willing to do that. So that's why I say that. This is a 30,000 foot view, and it's a start. And I don't think anybody who is running, I mean, this is, like I said, this is the foundation. It's a start.
What about baseline budgeting? To me, I see that as a huge problem. It allows the Democrats to lie over and over and over again about cuts that are not cuts. We've got to quit that. You stand for cutting baseline budgeting?
Absolutely. I mean, when you think about it, again, it's like we're saving you $1 billion because we're spending $1 billion less than we actually had planned to spend. That's not really saving. Remember, when we cut spending in Saratoga Springs, we actually cut. We cut programs. We let go. We let people go. We got rid of things that I don't believe we should have been doing. We actually cut, so.
I noticed you were the only one to sign